I'm worried about our cash reserves. They're pretty low. We might have to start shutting down facilities.
What's happening, guys? It's Spark and welcome to today's episode. Today we are doing episode 2 of my My Team Career Mode series and we are in Saudi Arabia. If you haven't seen the last episode, then I will leave a link up to the top. Go and check it out. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for F1 content and join my Discord to join my free giveaway for a copy of F1 22 on Xbox Series X. And stick around to the end of the episode as well for the upcoming vote to decide what happens in the next episode. So coming off into the next race, we have got doing ourselves power team building. As you were seeing on the screen, we are doing a upgrade as well in powers. We got the resource points to do it, and thanks to the engine issues that we had last time, we have been given a little bit of a bonus from the from Francisco, our engine guy. As you can tell, I know by team well how much I'm stuttering there. So once we come around into the next race in Saudi Arabia, we actually have a first Pirelli Hot Lap of the career mode to do. Now, I chose to do the average speed zone because having played the drift mode on this game, I have to be honest, I don't feel truly comfortable with it, especially on hard difficulty. So we're going to try the average speed zone because we need that driver acclaim and we need the extra bit of cash to help us along the way to upgrading our facilities and signing the right drivers as well. Now, with this one, what you have to do, you really have to almost slingshot your way out the corner to get the average speed up. I almost did that the first time, but coming across the line, we missed out just by about 0.3 miles an hour, and we ended up sliding off there as well. But I have to be honest, these supercars, they're definitely a bit of a gimmick, but I can't help by feeling that I miss the classic cars much more. But then again, they look glossy, they look good in F1 Life when you launch up the game, so there's always that. But as we come across the line second time round, we end up hitting gold, so it's pointless doing the third run. But at there, we managed to get the maximum 1,000 points for driver acclaim, and we got the extra... Oh wow, we actually got it just on the dot. We got it just on the dot, so... Talk about close calls there, but that's the Pirelli Hot Lap done. I have a feeling we're going to get more of those as this career mode goes on. I'll try my best to get them done. Now, I won't give them too much time because, like I said with these videos, I'm really trying to get them down to about 25 minutes maximum. This one, I think I've just about missed out on that one, so I did my best, but hopefully it gets enough info in for this series. And as you can see through here, like if you saw my Saudi Arabia video last time out when I did my team, doing this particular program, there's so many games, enough to give me complete PTSD, because there's so many of them I missed. I ended up getting purple on it, so thankfully that was fine. But genuinely how I felt with the practice modes in this particular track, it is a lot more rewarding than it was in Bahrain, because, and again, with Bahrain, there's a lot less low speed corners compared to that, so in terms of my exits, it's going to have less of an impact on the track like Saudi Arabia. That once you do get it right, though, it is a very nice track to drive, especially when I sorted out the ERS program, and then we managed to get all the practice programs done as well. So once you come around to points, Oscar Piastri did manage to get some points for us for resource, which is fine. A lot of development boost supply, which is mainly focused around durability and power, because we've invested most of our time into aerodynamics and chassis. And not to say we don't need to doing that, because frankly this car is still handling like an absolute boat at the moment. But if we got an engine issue last time in Bahrain, then it will make sense to upgrade this car as much as we can. But once we came around to in between sessions, I ended up going for an upgrade for durability on the turbocharger, just to make sure that the car is a little bit more durable going forward. So once you come round at the end of this race, we'll apply the resource points at the end of this episode, and we'll let you decide really what we upgrade on the car, because then again, I wanted to, like I said before at the start on the on my pre-season video, I want to involve you guys as much as we can. But anywho, we're going on to qualifying now, as I keep rambling on about what I want to do for this series. The first qualifying session kind of felt okay. My initial benchmark time was a high 1 minute 30, so it didn't feel too great. And so that corner that we just got right there, I was really struggling with that, especially with the way these cars are. I think my setup was a little bit understeery. I went for 17, 15 wings, I think, on this car, and I think you got to have this car set up for a good rear end, in my opinion, because it's so easy to spin it, but you need it stable to make sure that it does what it wanted to do. We ended up doing a 29.8, which thankfully for us is enough to get through into the next round. And as you said, a bit of a glitch there, keeping us in the pits where it should have been the trackside view when it comes to the end of a session. Both me and Piastri were through, thankfully. But as we went around into qualifying too, now I was sniffing a chance, to be honest, to see if I can get into Q3. But in front we got Sonoda ahead of us, which may serve as a bit of a roadblock as we come down into the next corner. I believe this is turn 4. In fact, there's so many corners on this blooming track, it's hard to know which one's which. But this one felt a lot better. We probably take a bit too much curb in there. And that's what I will say about this game. I mean, these curbs are very, very punishing if you try to cheat them or go overboard with them. Because frankly, the inside of the curb in Saudi Arabia, the gap between that and the floor is so much, and it's very, very easy just to lose grip on this car. As we go through the rest of the lap, we got Sonoda ahead of us to give us a nice little draft as we come round into my least favourite corner so far. But that one, we just about managed to get it right. But like I just said, just ran over that curb, and immediately we lost ourselves a little bit of grip. But as you come now into the second DRS and into the final corner, well, I find it so easy to understeer if you just miss your braking point by about a few meters. But that one wasn't too bad. We're just on the exit. It's so easy to lose the back end. So you short shift as much as you can as we go straight to the line. Is this enough to get us through into Q3? It's a times about comparable to what we did. Yes, we got through into Q3. That's in 9th place for us. And I was not expecting that so early in this career mode, if I'm honest. Like, we only have a car that's only good enough for the midfield, but to get into Q3, that's brilliant for us. And speaking of Q3, in fact, anything else at this point is merely a bonus. So I'm just going to take you on board with what was my best lap, just to show you what it was like to drive across this track. And this first corner I pretty much nailed, because that's one you almost have to turn in early. You almost feed into very, very early to get the best line. Down to turn 4, we have to drop it all the way down to 4th. It's so easy to go wide, and it's so easy to lose the back end, especially with these cars. So that's why I choose to run a setup with rear stability. And as we come near the end, we have no idea how well we're going to qualify. It could be 10th, it could be 9th. But like I said, anything from this is a bonus. It's come down to the banked left-hander here, which feels so nice to drive, but it's so easy to lose the back end. So as you'll see on coming in there, I'm very tentative when applying the throttle, as you'll see. And as you'll see coming out of these corners, you keep an eye on the green gauge coming out. I'm not quite hitting full throttle, because if you do, especially with the level of grip we've got in these cars, you're just going to spin and it'll absolutely ruin my qualifying. Qualifying is now complete. We leave it until the end to set our time, as you can quite see. And this one, we just about get that corner right, and we go on to a little bit of a cinematic view there, just because I got a feeling this is going to be a really, really good time coming up front of us here. We take as little road as we can. We go out to the outside though, just so we get the best line possible for the final corner. And the exit there was pretty decent for us. Where will this put us as we come across the line? Could we even get us in the 1 minute 28? Not quite. It's a 1:29.3, so it's a pretty decent time all around. And it's good enough for 5th place! Wow, that is a brilliant time for us. We get through into 5th place, and we out-qualify both Mercedes. So I don't know whether the porpoising got really, really bad for them. Not that it's in this game. But 5th place, so we've out-qualified George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. But in front is the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, who are undoubtedly the fastest cars so far in F1 currently on this game. I know there will be some form of performance patch to sort out the Ferrari engine, because there's no way that thing deserves 97% reliability. But starting in 5th place is an absolute brilliant one for us. Let's see what we can make happen during the race.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah. One of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, the owner driver, and Russell, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, and Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Joe, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel, Albon, Stroll, Latifi, and Mick Schumacher. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
And we are in a very good position to keep the points tally coming in. One thing I will say with this game though, it seems the only real strategy that I've been able to do in the first couple of games is just go from mediums to hards, which to be fair isn't a bad strategy. It would have been the optimal strategy in previous games and in previous real life F1. But the problem with that is that there's not really much variance. The soft tyre feels almost redundant so far in terms of an opening strategy, because the medium and hards will easily get you through on the one stop and get you through to the end of the race. But anywho, we get the lineup of the formation lap pretty aggressively set to cover off the assault from George Russell behind, but it's 5 lights on and it's away we go, and that's a bad start for us as the back end gets loose on the car. But we have gone up to find Sergio Perez. Russell gets ahead of us here. We're going to take round to the outside of both of these cars and we're through into 4th place. 4th place for us now, as we see George Russell fighting with us coming up into turn 4. The top 3 are getting away from us massively, even though they're fighting alongside each other. We're still trying to find our feet with this car, because I gotta be honest, I'm still on heavy fuel, combined with a heavy feeling that this car generally feels like. It's very hard to get this car around this first sequence of corners. So easy to understeer and so easy to to be punished really for track extending, as we go wide throughout the banked corner, and that gives Russell the sniff of an opportunity, but he runs the rear end of his car goes wide, and that keeps us in 4th position. And there we have a virtual safety car that's been deployed from the race. So let's see what's happened to cause that. Okay, so we're on board with Mick Schumacher in the Haas, and he goes right into the back of the Williams. So I don't know whether that's caused suspension damage, but Mick Schumacher went straight into the back of the Williams, and that is not what he needed, and he's pulling off to the side, and that's it. Schumacher's out of the race. So it looks like with these cars you can damage the suspension so easily. Like I said in my last video, the suspension damage mechanics are much improved from the last game. As we get back under racing now, it's still us alongside the 4th place, alongside behind the top 3. As we come up to the end of lap 2, it's 3 abreast, so it's me ahead of Russell and then ahead of the other Red Bull of Sergio Perez. We go wide off our least favourite corner. That's going to give Russell yet another sniff of an opportunity, as we got to use ERS and everything and more to defend as we come down into the final corner. Russell doesn't have a chance though. We go a little bit wide. That gives Russell a sniff of an opportunity, and we're side by side going down the first straight. We're deploying all the ERS and all the energy that we can, and that's just about going to keep us ahead of George Russell. We needed to do that, even though this car in particular is so bad at recovering ERS. We had to do that to stay in front of George Russell. And I've got to be honest, we're not actually racing these guys. I mean, I'll be more than happy with a 7th place, but this is kind of a pride more than anything else, as Perez now gets a sniff of an opportunity, and now George Russell goes alongside of him as well. But that's one thing I do love about this track. With this particular part, it's quite good for racing, because you get a mistake and all your cars have to work so hard to keep on top of each other. But coming up to the front, a battle is heating up now between both Ferraris, just like in real life for the British Grand Prix. It's Carlos Sainz versus Charles Leclerc coming down into the final corner. Leclerc has a DRS on Sainz. Leclerc goes round to the outside, and oh, the Ferrari's almost touched there, and that's going to give Verstappen behind a sniff of an opportunity. The Ferraris once again destroying their race by fighting each other. It's standard Ferrari, and Verstappen has got the toe on Carlos Sainz as well. He's going to go down to the inside. No, he's not. Sainz and Leclerc still fighting each other. Sainz and Leclerc still go around the outside. Sainz looks like he's maintained the position for now. Leclerc is still in P2 behind him, but he's not going to have the outside. He's not going to have the inside going into the next corner. The Ferraris are still fighting each other. Binotto, whoever, needs to get on the radio to these guys. Come on, cool it off. There's no need for them to be fighting so hard with each other at the beginning of the race. But as you'll see, we don't have the pace to keep up with them. And behind us, Perez and Russell themselves are actually getting into it. So it's kind of an ideal situation for us where the gap is just widening. So it's given us kind of a no man's land, almost kind of breathing space, as it were. But as we got round to lap 10, it branched out to about 8 or so seconds, the gap between myself and Perez, and Verstappen ahead is about 7 seconds ahead of us, as we've got a full-on safety car that's been deployed. So once I looked through the replay, I haven't quite seen what caused it, but with this, we make the call to pit this lap. So without a doubt, it's a perfect time to pit, because in our strategy, we needed to take on hards at about now. Elvis, I already called the strategy, mate. No need for you to do it again. Jesus Christ, I mean, Elvis really is the new Jeff. It has to be said. So, all it is just Jeff if he got his voice box changed. But as we come into the pits, at the same time as the leaders, this is where the immersive pit stops come in. We turn in at exactly bang on the right time, and we change onto the hard compound tyres. Now, the saving grace for us is because these tyres, as you know if you played the game, are so hard to actually warm up. So, we're going to get to do that behind the safety car, and we're not going to lose any time as a result. So that's really good news for us, which means we got good tire heat coming up to the cars at the end of the safety car. It doesn't mean though we'll probably end up losing P5 or P6 to Perez and Russell, but to be honest, like, if we come home at about 7th or so place, I will not be disappointed, because as right now we are a midfield team, as Sainz has now dropped from the lead to 3rd place, once again screwed over by Ferrari strategy. I mean, Ferrari master plan 101, absolutely right there, as Max Verstappen, who has got the fastest lap, sits in 2nd position and is fancying his chances of overtaking Charles Leclerc. But the Ferrari is the fastest engine so far in this game, so I don't think we'll see Verstappen making the move unless he gets an absolutely brilliant exit at the end of the safety car. Now, this is where I've got to judge it, because I know we're not faster than Sainz, but we do have the opportunity to leapfrog him if we wanted, and the safety car has come in, and this is it. We got a massive restart on Sainz. We go around to the outside, and could we possibly do this? Yes, we could, but it's not just one, it's 2 cars we're overtaking. We get both Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen, and we're up into 2nd position in a crappy midfield car like this, which is harder to turn than the blooming Titanic. We have got ourselves into 2nd position on lap 14 of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc will surely run away with this, but who cares? We're on the podium right now, and we have got to defend with everything we've got from Max Verstappen. As we come near to the later point on in the lap, we'll see what happens. Oh, Verstappen, it looks like he's hit the wall. So Verstappen, Morley was suffering with some damage on his front wing. He's still going to be fighting us. Come round into the 3rd sector, but if you tap the walls on this game, sim damage really does punish you. Once again, we screw up that corner and we get a horrid exit, but Verstappen gets a brilliant exit, and it's almost 4 abreast coming into the final corner. Me versus Verstappen versus Sainz versus George Russell, but we hold on to 2nd position as Verstappen has to bide his time. As I look at the train forming up behind me, I am so slow compared to us. And Verstappen's in! Verstappen is in, and it does confirm what I said earlier. He must have had damage. That's behind George Russell. Tries to overtake Carlos Sainz. He dives down the inside, but unfortunately, it's not enough to make the overtake work. Sainz remains ahead of Russell and stays in 3rd place. Lance Stroll is now out of the session, but who cares? We are now still in P2 on lap 17. Leclerc's pulled out a 7-second gap to us, so I'm really struggling to make this car work. But on the outside comes Carlos Sainz, and he's overtaken us for 2nd position, it seems. Yes, he has, but he's got ahead of us just before the 2nd DRS zone. So we are going to come back at him, punch, then counter punch. And here we go, coming out to the start-finish straight. I don't think Sainz is going to have the ability to defend. No, he's not. We go round to the inside. We brake just at the right time. A little bit aggressive, but we take second place right back from Carlos Sainz. And by the time of the next lap, we kept the position over fighting him as well. But what a brilliant race it's turned out to be for us. And we got another safety car because we got Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, and crucially Max Verstappen out of this Grand Prix. What happened here? It's good stuff for us because that kind of ease off the tension, means we can keep our tyres a little bit fresher. But then again, Leclerc will have that same advantage as well. Let's go on board with Vettel and see what happened here. Okay, so, it looks like he's had a failure of some sort. Then he tries to cruise to a stop. So what does this have to do with Pierre Gasly? Oh, he turns it. Oh, he just turned it on Pierre Gasly. What is with these mistakes from the AI? And Verstappen just goes into them. He should have just completely driven around the outside of them. But that is so unusual to see AI making mistakes like that. The safety car stays out for about 2 or so laps. But by the end of lap 21, we're going to try and get the run on Leclerc like we did to Carlos Sainz at the beginning of the last safety car restart. When does Leclerc decide to drop it? I think he's pretty much dropped it now. Yes, he has. And as for us, we're going to get left behind a little bit. But we're going to turn on the overtake and everything up to the max. We're on the outside. Can we even go for the lead? Leclerc squeezes us in the corner, but we're going to try around the outside. And can Leclerc make the move stick? Can we make the move stick, rather? Leclerc is just ahead. He's got the racing line, and we have to feed into second position. Unfortunately, that restart didn't quite work out the way we would have wanted to. We go wide yet again. We're not quite in the rhythm like we were in before. Russell now overtakes Sainz and is in P3. It's carnage here that's happening in Saudi Arabia. Even with these shorter highlights, I feel like I'm getting so much out of this race just to record on there before. Russell goes down to the inside of the left-hander of the banked corner, once again sniffing an opportunity like he did at the earlier part of this race. We are going to defend for all of our lives, whether it's what's it going to be like coming around the right-hander. We've gone a little bit wide again. Russell is pushed out wide now, and there's nothing he can do. He loses ground to myself and Sainz. We almost touched the wall there, so we have to check if the car's okay. But Carlos Sainz right behind us, and once again, where have we seen this before? Sainz pressurizing me for a place to win this Grand Prix. As once again, Leclerc is romping away as I am trying so hard to defend against the cars behind me. Sainz has got a much better opportunity this time, even without the DRS, is to come round into the final corner. Oh, and we're in the wall! Carlos Sainz has put us in the wall! I don't believe it! And that race, we were looking so good to finish on the podium, and Carlos Sainz has put us right into the wall. I don't believe it! We are going to go without points in this race. Let's get a replay of that. So Sainz sticks his nose in, but already I'm way ahead of him. He should have backed off there, and Sainz puts us into the wall. I genuinely am gobsmacked. I do not know what to say, but we put on the softs in an attempt to salvage something from this race. At least try and get the fastest lap. But we've got underfloor and side pod damage on this car. And I am genuinely gobsmacked by this. I can't believe that we were on track for second place, and Sainz puts us into the bloody wall. And speaking of Sainz, he comes into the pits. In fact, he actually pitted and actually came out ahead of me, and that is not right at all. But we have got ourselves the fastest lap at least. So that's going to be some form of saving grace from us for this race. But I'm genuinely lost for words. I'm genuinely lost for words. It'll be some kind of saving grace, though, if we can pass Lewis Hamilton, who's having such a hard time trying to get past the Williams. I'm not sure what the plan is with Hamilton. And we're going to get past him earlier on this receiver to come round to 5. And Hamilton's us out of the race!
Confirm you're okay, please.
No, I am not okay! Nothing about this is okay! God, Lord, have mercy on my f***ing soul!
So another excellent win from Ferrari. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
A reliable car, that was the most important factor here. This was a real battle of attrition, and you could tell those at the front were trying to find a balance between running their outright pace and taking care of the car to reach the end.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
I'm done. I am done. I am so done. Knew what they were doing. Right on. On the bright side, Piastri gets his points. We could have been on for a podium finish. First Sainz puts us in the wall. And then Hamilton puts us out of the race. Absolute freaking disaster for us. Oh, God. I've had car damage, I've had emotional damage, I've had mental damage, I've had all kinds of damage. And I can't believe this episode has ended this way. We were doing so well, and it could have been an absolute miracle result for us, but something had to piss on my cornflakes. But nevertheless, we're going to bring this episode to an end here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you guys so much for watching. So once we got round into looking at things for R&D, I'm going to leave you guys with the decision to vote for these things on your screen. Which area am I going to upgrade? Am I going to upgrade for the next race? Aerodynamics, powertrain, chassis, or durability? You choose. I will make the poll available on my Discord, so all you have to do, I'll leave a link in the description for my Discord. Get in there and get voting on what you want to see in terms of decisions made for next episode. Like I said, I want to involve you guys as much as I can in the series and give you guys some entertaining content to watch for F122. So guys, we're going to leave it at that. If you're new around here, hit like, comment, and obviously hit that subscribe button as well, and hit the notification bell icon to be notified of any future videos coming up. Now, I'm going to go off and cool off because I'm so done with everything that's happened in that episode. But thank you guys for watching. I've been Spark, and I'll catch you guys next time in Australia. Bye-bye.